How's that taste?
Oh, that's good.
Ooh, that's
I have
good.
a new flavor today of electrolytes.
Electrolytes. You need them after that swim
I
workout.
know. I just pulled it out of the bag. It's these little stick packets. And usually I do watermelon lime. That's my favorite. It's Relight.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sponsored, but Relight sponsor me. But instead today I pulled out a little packet and it was pina colada.
Ooh,
And
sounds
that
good.
sounded perfect for the sunny day that we're having
rum
here
in there?
Texas.
No painkiller?
No rum.
I've got
But-
a little 50 milligram caffeine pouch in.
Okay.
Shout out to NZE. Yeah, energy.
So,
It's
yeah.
not it's L-theanine and tyrosine or something like that.
Well,
No
that's
nicotine
good.
today.
Well, that's good. Maybe that'll wake you up.
That's right. Maybe.
Oh, I need a
I
little.
didn't have my second cup. You're going to have to carry us today.
Okay, I will. I have
But what
something.
a beautiful sunny day.
It
So
is.
thankful. Man, hey to
is.
Springtown. Our friends literally just to our south, a little bit southwest, and man, they got hammered.
And
As
Runaway
did Paris
Bay.
and Runaway Bay.
Yeah.
But it was, everybody was calling us. It was showing bullseye over the weekend. We were in Oklahoma City doing a wedding. Great wedding with our friends, Carter and Ashley. That was so fun.
That was a fun wedding.
Great party.
Yeah. Got
but
to
yeah,
get away
we were-
just a little bit.
We were praying for everybody, their property, and their life and limb. And man, but yeah, we're it looks like it's a nice day today, a little humid, but hate the storms.
Yeah.
Hate the storms. It
I
seems
know.
like it's getting crazier and crazier, and we've got that. You want to tell everybody my fear?
Yeah.
We've got the storm shelter in the
we
backyard.
do. We didn't put
built.
it there. It was here when we moved in.
Here when we moved in, but I've got this fear of going down into the storm cellar. And people have asked, have we ever been? No, we have not. There would have been one time in Argyle where we would have actually made the trek into the storm cellar, braving the spiders and the, I don't know,
Ew.
probably copperheads or something. But
No.
we haven't ever been. But I'm afraid we're going to crawl down in there, anchor the door, have the storm blow over, and then come out and see a slab just sitting there. Just a
Yeah.
bare
You've had that
slab.
fear, and you're not really a fearful person.
I'm not. Yeah, it's not about.
But
I'm not
you've-
afraid of but I'm just the hassle, the inconvenience of just starting over. And I mean the devastation. I don't even think I can. I don't think you can wrap your head around it until you've been through it.
No, I don't think so either. But what's weird is you don't normally, there's a lot of things that you could think that about, but that's something that's kind of latched on that you've kind of been worried about. And I'm like, oh,
Because the storms
God, is that
they're coming, they're getting worse, and they're
foreshadowing?
coming. Yeah, it's not.
Hope
It's
not.
not a premonition I'm having any kind of thing like that.
Yeah.
It would just be. It would be horrible. It'd be horrific.
Yeah. I've thought about the people, in Springtown or Runaway Bay that are just
Day after.
cleaning up.
Dude.
Where do you start? I don't even know where you would
That's the
begin.
thing.
I saw a wedding venue actually that completely was decimated in Springtown.
Hopefully they
And-
weren't in the middle of a wedding ceremony.
No, I don't think they were in the middle of a wedding ceremony, but
Remember that one I did in Argyle? Tornado was coming right for us.
yeah.
Started raining, and literally everybody had the umbrellas was set out on the front porch, and they were on the lawn of this beautiful property with a friend
Yeah, that's bad.
and a very, very generous donor of long haul.
Yeah.
And it was marrying one of her kids, and here it came. It was literally, and it came, and it was like, do you? I do. Done. You're married. Kiss the bride. Let's go.
Oh my goodness.
It was the quickest wedding I've
Yeah.
ever done. I think I did it in 8 minutes.
Yeah.
And remember the getaway car was stuck in the backyard. They were
Yeah.
trying to pull that around, and they were all pushing, and literally the mother of the groom was one of the pushers. And she had, literally everybody had mud all over their
Well,
clothes.
they'll remember that forever. Well,
Yep.
so this video I was
sorry,
telling
in
you about.
Springtown.
No, that's okay. They posted and just said for the foreseeable future, we're going to be closed, and we're so incredibly sorry for all the brides who've already booked.
Yeah, nothing they can
and
do.
we're appreciative for everyone who's ever had their wedding here. But so I don't know what they're doing, scrambling to they're trying to help those brides find other places, but I'm like, I mean, it literally looked like it was made of cardboard. Everything was just completely decimated.
Yeah. Nothing you can do. And I mean, plenty of venues around, but most of them are booked. They just stay so booked up.
I don't know what those brides, like, hopefully they'll get their money back.
Well, they'll get the,
but that'll be a while. So if they book somewhere else, they'll have to pay.
Go down. Yeah.
Again, it's kind of just a really sad, crazy thing. But
so you had a little brainstorm. Speaking of storms,
and speaking of storms, this is exactly what I wanted to talk about was storm season, and it's because it was on the top of our mind from, Saturday night, the storm blowing in, and we weren't here. So just talking, Carson was back here, and just staying in touch with him. You giving him instructions of, what to do while we're gone and where we've seen leaks before or whatever, and talking to our other kids. But so all that was kind of on my mind, just storm season and thinking of all the people today that are trying to start the repair and the cleanup. And it made me just start thinking about storm season in your marriage, and just knowing that, like, when we got married almost 37 years ago, we didn't know all the storms that we were going to face together. I'm thankful that we didn't have a little window into what the future would look like for us. Just because, I mean, there have been way more beautiful moments and times that we just will, be forever grateful for. But the hard times that we would have seen as well, the devastation,
when we said sickness and health, we didn't know the sickness that was coming.
Yeah.
When we said better or worse, we didn't know the worse.
Right.
And we said richer or poor, we didn't know poor.
So it made me just think about, as I was thinking of storm season, you think of April, May, like that's, around here, we're, kind of in the area where, and a lot of areas of the world, have storm season at different times, and, have to batten down the hatches and, figure out how to shore things up to make sure you're prepared, you're ready when those storms come. Some of them take you by surprise. So I was thinking you could tell, like, the story of what happened in Argyle. I mean, I think we knew that storms were coming, but we didn't know what that was going to entail in the middle of the night.
These rain-wrapped tornadoes, that's the deal. And you don't see them until, there's the skies lit up with, lightning, or the power flashes from the transformers blowing, and sometimes the fires that are started, and all of a sudden it's just glowing pink or orange. But it was 3:30 a.m. and woke up to what ended up being 80 mile an hour straight line winds. And, I mean, I was hearing over 100 mile an hour straight line winds on this last one. But when you hear 80, 90, I mean, that's tornado. And even if it's not a funnel cloud, if it's not touching the ground, I mean, it's like, anything that's not anchored down is going to be moving a lot. And, trampolines flying through roofs and stuff like that. But in Argyle, I woke up and it was, I mean, I remember going into the middle, coming downstairs, telling everybody to get downstairs. And I was in the middle, that middle room in the den, and I could see out the front, see out the back. And it looked like the Wizard of Oz, man. I mean, just like it seemed like I could see a rotation, like stuff flying to the right, looking out the front and looking out the back, and it's flying that way, same direction, like in a circular, but hail, golf ball size hail blowing sideways. And I mean, here it came. I mean, the pool looked like Armageddon, just that hail hitting the pool, hearing stuff hitting the roof. The windows started going, and we had 11 windows smash out, and the skylight in the bathroom. So we had, stuff coming in straight down into the bathroom upstairs. And the feeling when you're caught unaware in the middle of the night like that, just that helpless feeling, like, hey, where's the plywood or the cardboard to start duct taping and, trying to board up windows to avoid further water damage inside. You're thinking, man, anything on that deck in the back is destroyed. Or, the house, the siding, the roof, obviously. And you're just praying, okay, God, please don't let this, this whole structure just be sucked up into the clouds and obviously keep us safe. But yeah, it's crazy when you're just kind of caught unaware and boom, here it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, some of that you were saying, you were kind of making the analogy to marriage when those storms hit just kind of out of nowhere. Here you are in the middle of the night, you're dead asleep and you wake up to that. 1 minute in La La Land, and then the next minute awaken from your dream, and you're in the middle of the nightmare.
All the kids are getting up, and you're telling them how to stay safe and where to go, and that it's loud all around you. Things are crashing and breaking, and that was horrific. And at the time, we'd converted our garage into another living room because that's kind of what we needed at the time. And so all of our cars, how many were there? 3 cars or 4 out there?
Probably 4.
But I think all 4 were totaled.
Hammered.
It was crazy.
Yeah, not total, but yeah, I mean, a lot of hail damage.
Yeah.
Big checks from State Farm on that one.
Really, really bad. But so... yeah, I just started thinking about that storm and the storm from Saturday night and just kind of knowing, okay, it's storm season. We know we've been on the planet long enough to know that that's probably something we need to be aware of, to kind of be ready for when you start to hear, alerts on your phone or you start to pay extra special attention to that stuff. And what do we need to do? Do I need any materials? Like, what are some things that we need to have prepared?
Get the flashlights handy. Make sure.
Yeah.
Everybody's using their phone now for the light, but I like the big ones and usually no batteries. They're the rechargeable that you need them plugged into the USB the night before. So you got plenty of flashlight, but yeah. So storm season and marriage, I would say in the early years, we started predicting a storm season around the holidays. Some people predict, I mean, that is for a lot of people, just how that can bring up a lot of family stuff. And then sometimes it's the anniversary of a loss, if you call it that, the death of a loved one, a parent, a child, maybe a marriage ending. There's a lot of things that bring up, and that's kind of the storm season in that relationship or that
and
marriage.
All what you talk to a lot of couples about are all the different stressors. Maybe a new job or a move or getting married, or there's some biggies, and many times we talk to people who are having about 4 or 5 of those all at one time.
Right.
And so when you can, just help them talk through that and go, okay, this doesn't mean like you made a mistake, or it doesn't mean the world's coming to an end, but it just means you've got a lot of different things happening at one time, and helping them walk through it in a more healthy way. And I've watched you do that time and time again with couples. And we learned that just because we've, from experience, how we have had to work through things like that.
So it's preparing for the storm. It's going through the storm when you're in the middle of the storm, how you react, what kind of survival, kicks in, and how you're coping with those times in those high stress, high anxiety moments. And then the aftermath, how you, when you walk out, how you start, some people are just literally just kind of in shock, and you're just looking around, and like you said, where you start and other people just kick right into action, and it's like, okay, it's go time. And you just start, you grab a shovel and it's like, okay, where's the dumpster and the dustpan? Let's go. And you start cleaning up, and you're making phone calls to insurance companies. And it's just interesting how all that goes. And, people with the destruction of their homes again, and the loss of the things that were important to them. Yeah. Which I think you realize in those moments, there's very few things materially
really,
that were important. It's the people, right? And
Yeah.
as long as you're all safe and sound, you and your kids and your pets and all that, you're thinking, okay, we're unscathed and we can rebuild, we can start over. But the devastation, so the aftermath, think about, I think about one of the biggest storms in our life, the early years of our marriage, and then the storm of the birth of Corbin, and then, his life, his short life, and then the loss of Corbin and the aftermath of that storm and how we rebuilt during that season. What are some of the tools that you were thinking about? Because you prepare and you try to get things in your tool belt and the best you can. A lot of times, the need is the mother of invention, right? And sometimes you don't know what you need until you're there, right? You couldn't have even seen that thing, like you said, coming. We would have never, ever put on the radar, especially after having 2 healthy kids born,
Right.
that we would have had a kid born with a serious, life-threatening or, a terminal disease that is going to eventually take his life. There's no way I would have prepared for that or even conceived of that. Those are things that happen to other people, right? So do you have to talk about...
One thing I think that it's tough because you may not even be able to have this until you walk through a couple of storms, but it's the gift of perspective. And so if you have been through a storm, which I don't know anyone who really hasn't, but if you've been through any kind of storm in your marriage or in your life, you realize like it's there for a season. You're going to walk through whatever it is, the grief, if it's, whatever it is, whatever the loss is, or whatever that you've just walked through, there's, going to have to be repair that happens. But sometimes you can get so overwhelmed by being in the enormity of the moment that you feel like I'm buried underneath this. Like I don't see a way around this, over this, under this. Like this is my life. And it does feel like that because it is such an overwhelming, heartache or grief or hurt or whatever it is, just like a devastating blow, that it really does feel like this is it. This is my forever. But if you can rise above that just a little bit and say, okay, this is going to be for a season, and I'm going to have support. I'm going to reach out. I'm going to give myself grace. I'm going to do some things that I need to do to make it through this season, but I will make it through this season. This is not the way my life is going to end.
Yeah.
But when you're in the middle of that storm, or when you just are walking out, like your worst fear is lifting the lid on that storm shelter and seeing everything leveled.
Carnage.
I feel like we have felt that in our marriage and in our lives before, not physically with our home, but what some of the experiences that you just described. And I think in that moment, you can feel like, wow, where do we even start? And this is it.
Sometimes
This is our whole life.
You do know it is over. And it's like, and you said the gift of perspective. Sometimes it's, you said this too shall pass. You didn't say those words, but like seeing that it's not going to end here. Like that this will pass. I will move beyond this. Sometimes just that vision, you don't have the vision to see that one day, that sun will rise again and, and I'll be rebuilding something or moving forward. And sometimes it's rebuilding and like restoring, that restoration process. And sometimes it's literally building something new.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of times I remember, and again, we tell people this all the time, but when you have, it's ironically, we talk about the one thing that remains in this catastrophic, nightmare that I fear is this total catastrophe and things are gone, but the foundation is standing, right? We talk about a foundation, the thing that cannot be blown, right? Building on a solid rock, right? And not, where the wind and the rain can't come and knock it over. Building the house on the rock, not the sand. But a lot of times I think the foundation is so like structurally just unsound that God, something has to, if you will, die before a resurrection. And a lot of times I see a lot of couples, they don't have a firm foundation that they've built anything on. And so it's like when the storm comes and everything's gone, they really do have to start with a foundation that's going to hold them.
Complete rebuild. Yeah.
It's going to be something that they can build on.
I feel like that's part of the beauty of what we get to do in meeting with individuals and couples is just coaching them, giving them a perspective that they can't see for themselves yet. They're desperate. Where am I going to go from here? How do we navigate this? What do we do? And first of all, we're not in the big middle of whatever it is they're walking through. So we don't have all the emotion that's tied to it. We don't feel that burden that's just sucking the life out of them, the hopelessness that they're feeling. So I feel like we're able to give them a perspective that they're maybe not able to see. We're like, hey, here, come with me just a little, step up. Let's look at it from this point, and just giving them, like, they may just have to ride on our belief, ride on our hope and our faith that new days will be dawning. Because you can't, it's hard to see that for yourself when you're in the middle of it. That's why I feel like we are better together, because with other people surrounding us, we have different perspectives, people that can breathe belief and hope into us when we got nothing.
You can call them old people, elders, but if, I think wisdom hopefully comes with that age and with the life experience. And the hope comes with that. And so many times when people, they do think this is it. And you feel the desperation, the fear, the panic, even when they're reaching out for help, they're thinking, one of the spouses thinks it's over, and they've threatened it, or they've said this is over. And the other one's thinking, I don't want this to be over. And what do I do? And I mean, to your point, I think they are holding on to like our prayer, our hope. Yeah. And I tell people, I said, if I thought that it was over, like I wouldn't be doing this. If I hadn't seen transformation, like true miracles, I wouldn't be wasting my time. If I think you get to a certain point and it's over, like, oh, if you're there, then just throw the grenade in now and run. That's the reality some people feel. Yeah. And I said it the other night, I don't have to see a parting of the Red Sea or a walking on water. Like what God did in our marriage is truly a miracle. So I know there can be like literally life-changing, legacy-altering transformation in a marriage, like total salvation.
But you can see where if people don't have that perspective and they've just opened the hatch of their storm cellar and they look out and it's just decimated,
like, this is over.
How they feel like if this is our marriage, I've got to walk away. I can't, there's nothing to do here. Right. It's over. A bomb has just gone off, And so unless they have someone saying, hey, just because it looks broken down and completely, like there's just complete devastation, there's still hope. I think so many people walk away from their marriages because it does seem completely hopeless. And honestly, we've seen it sometimes, that does happen. It takes two people saying, yes, we're standing in the middle of devastation, but let's figure out how we can maybe rebuild this together.
And committing to true change, right? Getting the help when there is something that's causing, whether it's addiction, abuse, whatever, some of these, adultery, some of the biggies that truly challenge and make you think like, well, I don't even want to do this.
Right.
It's like, will one or the other or both truly say, I will seek help, and then I'll do whatever it takes. I'll commit to making the changes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one thing, you probably already know this, but this was something new I learned today. So the term batten down the hatches, we say that a lot. Mm-hmm. We were telling that to Carson. Carson, here's how you can batten down the hatches at our home while we're not there. It's a nautical term. So it was from the Navy, and it was a term that was coined in like the 1800s. And it's where they would see storms coming, and they would take this canvas and put it over every opening, every hatch, every doorway, and they would use these strips of wood called battens, and they would have to nail the canvas down to secure, to help avoid flood. Why did my timer completely stop? Okay, whatever. We're going long today.
No problem.
Just kidding. Anyway, so batten down the hatches. I thought that was kind of a cool visual. So what can you do to prepare yourself, to ready yourself for a storm that you think, sometimes it'll pass you by and you're like, woo, all right, we kind of avoided that one. But to be ready just in case. It made me think about what you did, kind of with the kids all growing up. When we saw that there was something, you can't always be ready for everything, but when you could see that we were about to, as a family, walk through kind of a tough season or a tough time, and you would sit us all down for a family meeting. And so growing up for me, when my dad would call a family meeting, I would get sick to my stomach and be like, oh gosh, someone's in trouble, or there's some bad news, or something's going down. I don't know. And it wasn't usually me, because I didn't really get in a lot of trouble, but believe it or not, I didn't. I didn't.
It was old Bart, wasn't it?
Or Wes. But even though it wasn't me, I just still had this nervous feeling like, what's Dad going to talk to us about,
right.
And so, but
because
I felt
he made this big deal. It's a family meeting.
Yeah.
So
I feel like
day.
for you, when you would do that, when we would, text the kids or tell the kids, hey, don't make plans tonight. We want to, we're going to, be together as a family. We're going to have a little family meeting. We tried to not make it be like where they were just sick to their stomachs all day. Like, oh no, who's busted? But tell a little bit more about how that was.
Or what kind of bad news are mom and dad going to share with us? Because so many times, that's
But I felt like that was a way to batten down the hatches when we saw a storm was coming. So tell a little bit about the family meeting.
I think about the one when we had the fire. So some banked ashes from an outdoor fire were scooped by me into a trash can. And not a metal trash can like I have outside and inside now, but a Rubbermaid. And the thing's oxygen, after like days old fire with just, old gray ashes, oxygen, once I took the shovel to them and shoveled them into a Rubbermaid, that oxygen mixed and caught some of the smoldering embers on fire. And here it comes. And we weren't home again. And anyway, so the thing burned to the ground, and on the corner of the porch started a little fire and started burning the corner of the house, which traveled up kind of and into the attic. And kids noticed the smoke. I told them to hang up the call with me. They said, Dad, are you grilling out? Like, no, what do you mean? Oh, there's flames in the bathroom. I'm like, hang up and call 911 right now. And then get on the phone with them again. And they're kind of arguing about the hose. And I'm like, send trucks now. Like, that's it. Send fire trucks. Anyway, so they came and put the fire out, and a lot of the damage, as some people know, if it's not a total loss, we were just seconds away from losing the house, but just the smoke damage, the water damage, axing into the house to get the hoses to the flame. But we knew this was going to be a huge reconstruction, getting things that were smoke damaged sent off to get cleaned, and it was just a lot of stuff. Just that all the rehab of the house.
We were out of a kitchen for
the kitchen wall, literally. So we're looking at from the kitchen island, staring out the south, into our backyard and literally straight into the backyard.
There was no wall.
No wall.
And we couldn't, I remember
the sink,
for however
the
many
use of
weeks.
the refrigerator.
Insurance paid for all of our meals out, which seems like, woohoo, Mama doesn't have to cook and we get to eat out every single meal. Like that seems like, oh, that's a dream. No. After about 2 days of that, we're done.
And people that know that are redoing any room in their house, I mean, when you don't have use of that house, but the kitchen, kind of the hub of your house, we like a lot of time in our kitchen because we like to eat. And, of course, I'm moving the fridge and plugging it in somewhere else, but everything's moved. Everything's displaced. You can't, and that major, being able to wash your hands and wash things in that sink. Again, the wall's gone. And so I thought we're going to be in bad moods. We're going to be irritated. We're going to be annoyed with one another. And you start taking it out on each other. And I just knew that. So I called a family meeting and it was like, guys, this is going to suck really bad for like a while. So just get used to it. Don't, Dad. It's like, hey, dude, I didn't do this. Well, I did kind of do it. Yeah. But it's like, this is what it is for a while. And so let's know it's coming and we're not going to take this out on each other. We're going to look forward to how we can make the best of the situation. And it was really, really helpful, I think, because we just kind of knew what was coming and we made a quicker adjustment. I think we got over the all that stuff. And just, it's like, nope, that's what we just talked about. We're not doing that. We're just going to deal with it. And what's interesting when you look at back to your analogy of, storms and preparing and stuff, but the aftermath, what came out of that was like, a new kitchen. Yeah. And new cabinets that you wanted, new granite countertops that you wanted that we didn't have before. And this new, and it's like, hey, while we're at it, while we're knocking sheetrock around, let's just knock this hole in this wall right here.
Yeah. So it ended up being some really
good things were
came.
birthed out of it and rebuilt and reconfigured and designed in ways that like we would have never done on our own had we not been hit with that challenge.
Well, I'll tell you from my point of view what that family meeting, that prep to get us ready before that, number one need of women is safety and security. And that made me feel like, okay, someone's got a plan. Someone has their eye on this. This isn't just, because it's just willy-nilly. One day the refrigerator is in the den. The next day it's in the laundry room. Then, things were always just moving, changing. You'd wake up in the morning to a contractor at the front door, just letting themselves in, and the dogs are going crazy. And it was like someone took my nest and just shook it up and dumped it out on the ground. Yeah. And not that our home is perfect. I'm not like that kind of a housekeeper or home, whatever. But it's, you like it to be tidy. You like things to kind of have a home, and pretty much where to look for things except for dang cords that you're looking for. But
you're creatures of habit, and all of a sudden all your habits have been interrupted.
You just want to just go make coffee in the morning, and it's hard.
The disruption.
It's hard to make a cup of coffee, and like the things that were your rituals. And so for me, that family meeting was a time to just kind of prep, get ready, rally, and like there was a plan. It was almost like you were the coach of our team. So the Hackney Five was our team. You're the coach, and you're saying, okay, here's what the game plan is going to be. So even though, yes, it was hell, that was a really hard time. I look back at that, and that was really tough. But
you're huddling up. It's like we're about to play a really good team. So the challenge was this team that we're lining up against is this crappy thing that just happened. But we're not just going to show up on the field and get our butts kicked. We're going to plan. Like, here, let's huddle up. And then I remember in the middle of it, okay, let's kind of regroup halftime, right? Yeah. And then it's the post game. What went well? What didn't go so well? What we have done differently for next time. You just learn.
Just a reminder,
going into it, like you said,
teammates.
Not willy nilly.
Yeah,
sorry.
We're not.
Say that again.
Yeah, just a reminder that we're teammates. We're not against each other. Right. Like you said earlier, we're going to be irritated. there's going to be heightened emotion. We're going to be frustrated. And so just kind of know, like, we get that. We understand. We're not saying don't feel that. We all feel that. We all feel, that we're super irritable and how long is this going to go on? But just having kind of a game plan on the front end, I think was helpful to rally us, to remember that we're a team. And I just think that's so good for families to start that super early.
Yeah.
When you see that a storm is coming, to do that, to get ready. But then also, there are times where you don't know, you're completely blindsided by something that comes in, and still, as kind of the leader, the mom or the dad, or both as a team, but we kind of look to you as our leader of the Hackney Five, to kind of say, okay, wow. Whew, this took us by surprise, but you know what? We can still stop right here at the beginning or in the middle, and let's make a plan right now. Just at any point, you be the one that has the wits about you, or you and I both kind of talking behind, like, hey, let's talk to the kids about this, and us shoring ourselves up, going, I think we've always had little behind the scenes family meetings, just you and I, like, hey, this is a hard season, with toddlers or with middle schoolers, or as they're leaving their nest. And what can we do to shore up our marriage, our communication, and even our intimacy?
Yeah. And even during that, I don't want it to feel like or sound like that if it's mom or dad, whoever it is that's kind of calling the meeting or trying to lead the charge and say, here's what we're going to do. And here's, when you said a game plan, that doesn't mean we all have to feel the same way or go through it the same way.
Right.
We are a team, and we're not fighting each other, but to even check in emotionally. Hey, how are you feeling? Because we will feel differently, and honoring that. Like after you just, again, picture the slab analogy, we come out, maybe somebody's walking straight over and they're holding picture frames and seeing pictures that have been destroyed. And you're like, and I could see maybe someone saying, hey man, hey, throw that away. Get over here. Forget about those picture frames. Here, we need to focus on this. And that's the way they're coping with it. But maybe that other person needs to hold that picture frame and cry for a minute. And so I especially think after Corbin, the grief and going through that, you needed to be with people. I didn't want to be with people. I wanted, and I'm sure at times definitely I needed people, but I wanted to isolate and I needed to be alone. And so instead of me saying, babe, you just need to be around people all the time, or you saying, well, just quit isolating and being alone. It's like, God bless her. She needs to be with people. God bless him. He needs to be alone right now. He needs to be on the water alone right now with a hook in the in the water. So it's allowing people the space, and that's something I've just learned more and more as I've grown and just realized, man, we're so different, all of us, and we're going to handle those storms differently, and to let that be okay. Don't hurry someone else's grief. Don't make them be like you. We're so tempted to think that the way we're dealing with it is the way to do it, especially for parents. And we're trying to tell our kids. So that plan is not telling them how they're going to feel about it.
Great point.
So it's more of just expecting that this is going to be hard for all of us. And so even checking in with all of them.
Yeah.
Some people are going to be verbal and some aren't, about what they're feeling. And it's not necessarily trying to pull it out, but of people, but giving them the opportunity.
Creating a safe space
There it is. That's
for
great.
that to happen, for that communication. I think that is huge. It's just, that's one of the biggest things that we can do in a marriage and with our family is allow everyone to have a voice, and not just that, but create a space for them to use.
I could just
that
picture.
voice.
The reason I brought that, I could just picture some dads that, in certain circumstances, hey, we ain't going to cry about that. We ain't going to cry about that. It's like, well, you know what? Maybe you should cry about that. Maybe you need a good cry. Maybe you've been told your whole life, just wipe some dirt on it and move on.
Yes.
And, real men don't cry and, all that BS. It's like, no, maybe that kid needs a moment. And so,
that's good.
It's giving them, like you said, creating a safe space where how they feel is valid and allow them to feel, the stuff that they're feeling during those storms. But a lot of people, we've seen this too. So many people, especially when you're like shell shocked in grief and this thing that's come and just totally disrupted your program, your plan, and all of a sudden, man, you find yourself, as Jonah did after 3 days in the belly of the beast, spit up onto dry land, totally disoriented, place he'd never been before. Some people need someone to hold their hand and tell them, hey, here, let's do this next.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, you forgot to eat. You need to eat.
Yes.
There's just some of that. Yep. So a guide, somebody who's helping, it's like, okay. And like you just said, maybe you're not it's the people from the neighboring community coming over. Okay. It's not our home and we're not totally, our head isn't spinning right now. We can only imagine. So here, can we bring you a meal?
Yes.
Do you need a place to stay? Do you need somebody to keep your pets or your kids? Yeah.
Checking on your neighbors, checking on your friends. I think that's huge. I've seen something lately that's like, I don't know, it's like some kind of a reel, like doing this instead of asking, what can I do to help you? Instead of saying, hey, praying for you, let me know what I can do to help. Like that's super sweet and super helpful.
But they're not going to say anything.
Sometimes it's showing up with chicken-y.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's
Chicken Express.
Sending,
texting
a Starbucks gift card, which seems so kind of irrelevant and like dumb in the moment. But I still remember people that would, our friend Kelly, after we lost Corbin, came to the house and we visited with her for a little bit and then she left. And that night I was pulling pillows off of our bed to go to sleep and she had tucked a $20 bill behind our pillow with just a little note that said, we were back and forth to the hospital all the time, and just a $20 bill that said, maybe you need a Starbucks, on the way to Cook's or whatever to the hospital. And that was 27 years ago. And I still remember that. I guarantee you, Kelly does not remember that $20 bill.
You teared up 27 years later over a $20 bill tucked in behind a pillow.
It was huge.
So that is the biggest lesson of this whole thing. Just everyone listen to what just the smallest like token of your love and your expression of your care for somebody in the moment.
And it seems so insignificant. Like it seems like, wow, they've just lost their son or their son's in the hospital fighting for his life. What in the world could I possibly do to help them? What would $20 do for them? Like it just seems like I'm not going to do that because that's stupid, or that might make them think that's so trivial. You don't even understand what we're going through. But here I am 27 years later remembering that, or remembering, our friends, Michelle or Sammy who came and cleaned our bathrooms or, cleaned out
chocolate delight from Tina every single year.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's
crazy.
Things that people do. So it's so sweet to say, hey, we're praying for you. Let us know what we can do. But in that moment, you can't possibly remember all the people that have offered that. But the people that just show up with a meal at your door or a Starbucks gift card or hey, I'm coming to clean your bathroom today. Like that's just, it's invaluable. And so checking on friends, neighbors, your people that have just gone through some kind of storm in their life, in their marriage, with their families, just checking in on them, taking care of each other is huge. Yeah. Huge. So storm season is here. But I don't think we have to fear it.
Don't be a storm chaser.
I'm not going to. No.
Storm chaser.
Do not be a storm chaser. But be prepared. Be ready.
Be prepared.
Batten down the hatches. Arg.
Wow. Well, I see your wheels turning. I've always been the one. Are you going to give us one?
Well, I know you're worried about the storms that may be coming either now or later.